Sonic Boom Comic Issue 5. After Sonic breaks the fourth wall, talking directly to the audience to introduce us to what Eggman's doing, which is sad meta humor that not even the earliest of Archie Sonic did, we get a whole bunch of panels wasted on basically Eggman doing the same thing over and over again. He's asked by Orbot why he's trying to sell a bridge to nowhere. Wouldn't Orbot and Cubot know that already? Know all of his plans before the second he tries them? Eggman says, kinda looking like a hunchback, that he woke up with a burning desire to blow up a bridge. Cubot says they make an ointment for that in the bathroom because Flynn thinks toilet humor is brilliant award-winning comedy now. Why can't Eggman just blow up any old bridge instead of doing this? He wants to sell his bridge so he doesn't lose money on the deal by blowing it up. I admit I find this charming, but still, this is so dumb. And Sonic just standing there watching him in amusement. He mocks him, saying that no one trusts him, and Eggman is written to say he's beloved, which he would never actually think is the case, ever. And the real Robotnik would want to be hated as a power-crazed dictator, not be delusional that he's beloved for no good reason. Eggman insists that entertainers are notoriously bad with money, for some reason. And surprisingly, Comedy Chimp says that no, never mind, he was just being sarcastic with Eggman, and he doesn't trust him either. This plot is so dumb. Even Cubot points out that people have good reason to not trust Eggman. Eggman says that he wants to win back the will of the people so he can go back to taking advantage of them. Yeah, and then they'll hate you again. At least we didn't have a huge amount of panels wasted on him asking people other than Comedy Chimp to buy his bridge after Sonic said that. Eggman can't try to help people because they keep attacking him when he was clearly not trying to do anything wrong. They have good reason to hate him, granted, but still. And they hit him over the head until he has bandages over it and bruises, and a logical consequence of that. I'm guessing the injuries are just gonna vanish, though, right? Finally, he sends Badniks after Sonic. Badniks at that, good! And he destroys them just as easily as he would in Fleetway. This isn't exactly interesting and thrilling. Oh, it takes so much talent to think up they fight Badniks. So many wasted panels. I like that Tails used the wrench as a weapon at least, but he has to have super strength to be that awesome at fighting. Sonic wonders where Egghead went. I like that he called him that, and Eggman's busy flying away in his Eggmobile. Orbot tells Eggman he should bribe people with a carnival, continuing to read out of a book. Eggman calls his lair evil in front of people because apparently making people extremely unbelievably stupid is funny. Reality ensues because the mayor tells him there's permits and fees and zoning restrictions to deal with, so he can't just hold a festival because he wants to. Sonic Boom tends to really like jokes about bureaucracy, because that's funny and relatable to children, right? Kids love jokes about red tape, cholesterol, and being bored with life. What could be more Sonic-like than that? Kids love The Office. Eggman looks scared that he'll be expected to jump through hoops to get a permit. Why would he ever be given a permit to hold a party at his evil lair? I like that he literally jumps through hoops. But the mayor should have certified someone like him. That's dumb. This whole comic is dumb. Oh, it really was a Robotnik Oktoberfest. I thought that would just be a dumb name. One of them is written to say they trust Eggman unconditionally, and a young walrus breaks the fourth wall in a ride. Because Eggman somehow was written to forgot to hire ride operators, instead of just making robots to do it, or making Orbot and Cubot do it. People immediately get furious and turn on Eggman because the rides don't work, which okay, he's a bad guy already, so I guess it does make sense that they'd have such a hair-trigger temper about him. But who cares? It was an honest mistake. How immature of them. And Eggman lampshading that they shouldn't logically have pitchforks and torches doesn't make the fact that they have them now good writing. It's not like they have the magical ability to summon them whenever they want, right? Where is Sonic anyways? He should be here to make sure Eggman isn't doing anything evil with these people. Instead, Eggman has to go up to the heroes and ask them to operate his rides. Only just now does Sonic agree to go keep an eye on his festival. I like that Knuckles asked a customer if they'd like fries for their fries. Part of the reason it's funnier than most jokes in the comic, and the most memorable one, because I knew this was coming, was because we don't have an extra panel wasted on her staring at him in confusion. That's just left to our imaginations. I think it should have just been written to say, would you like fries with that? Here it's harder to believe he'd make this mistake because he should know saying fries twice would sound stupid. Six tells the kids ready to go to the spook house. Why isn't it just called a ghost house or a haunted house? That real life is much scarier. She's scared of fluorinated drinking water, airplane chemtrails, surveillance cameras, and an imminent robo-apocalypse. Okay, that's not so stupid of her, actually. And stuff like this is why love sticks. She has a point. She doesn't like the world being polluted. She would want her water to be as pure as possible. She naturally wouldn't be okay with being spied on because she's got trust issues. And she's kind of right to be worried about the robo-apocalypse in a world with Robotnik in it. It's just a shame that she's wrong genre savvy here, because this Eggman isn't allowed to be able to cause that, because that'd be remotely logical writing for him. And it does make sense that none of the heroes are actually trying to do good jobs, because they don't even like Eggman to begin with. Also, it would take time for Eggman to build new robots to operate the rest of his carnival, and people would just be scared of them and avoid them anyways because of the way they look. So he logically went to the heroes for help because they're good people and they'd want to keep a watchful eye on him. It made him look pathetic asking for their help, but it's his only option at this point, other than, threatening some people into operating the rides. Why didn't he just do that? Why didn't he just threaten and torture the mayor into letting him do what he wanted instead of jumping through all those hoops? This isn't Eggman! Even Sonic X was written better than this because he was considered by the government to be a dangerous criminal fugitive. But here, you'd think the mayor would have already started sending the cops after him for his crimes, since he lives in an evil lair that everyone would presumably know the location of. He wouldn't just be left alone on the island. If he was this incompetent, he'd either be forced into hiding by now, or already be in prison. So the whole premise of this continuity of Sonic is forced. Again. Everyone takes off because of what Styx said, and Styx thinks the government made them disappear when she should have clearly heard or seen them leave. So that was a forced joke. Eggman's convinced that the villagers love him, and he doesn't understand right away that the surveillance on the rides can let him hear the villagers talk about him, but never mind, he does so anyways. So what was the point of those lines? He already knows he can hear them. Of course, the villagers all snark that Eggman's just desperate, and for some reason they say the carnival itself smells. Also, Eggman somehow switches to comedy chimp making fun of him on TV with a remote for surveillance cameras, so that was dumb. This comedian making fun of Eggman idea isn't even remotely original to this continuity. It was done better in a different continuity. It was much more satisfying there. This Eggman gets made fun of enough as it is. Eggman gets fed up and sends his robots to attack, and Sonic lampshades that he should have seen this coming. Yes, he should have. So he was written pretty badly then. Tails flies to rescue a kid from an out-of-control plane, and he's happy that he gets to call someone else kid for a change. I like that. And Amy uses her hammer to hit a badnik indirectly thanks to one of those carnival things. Eggman has nothing to gain from doing this at all. It's not like he's trying to get them thrown to badniks. I get that he's throwing a hissy fit, but his plans and other continuities have actual purpose. I like that Sonic runs in a hamster wheel thing at one point. Like, all of this is charming. And that the crowd says they love Tails and Knuckles is great, rather than just worshipping Sonic. Eggman then tells Comedy Chimp not to buy his bridge for no reason at all, after Chimp decided to buy it for no reason at all. This is what forced comedy gets you. And Eggman's given an idea regarding go-karts thanks to him. Sonic Drift adaptation? What, would we have another story where the characters all cheat at a race and don't get disqualified for it? The text at the end even says that the story seems half-baked. Though I would honestly love the idea of it, since Game Gear games don't get nearly enough love. So I'm sure it won't happen. Because it's too far back in time, even though Sonic the Fighters was a million years ago, and yet the reboot had an adaptation of that. This issue was by Ian Flynn. At first, it was painfully stupid. Eggman wants to blow up a bridge for no reason, and for no reason at all, he thinks he has to make a bridge and sell it to someone else first, instead of just blowing up any random bridge, or building in general. Then, for no reason, he wants to get people to trust them when it's obvious that's futile without brainwashing power or roboticization, and they just go back to hating him anyways. So So the idiotic parody of Eggman decides to throw a carnival for people, but for no reason. Not only did he agree to jump through a bunch of hoops to get the legal permit to throw a festival because the mayor let him do that for no reason, but he was written to forget to hire ride operators, to force the concept of the heroes doing it for him, and for no reason he seemed to expect them to do a good job when they hate him. When he hears them insulting him and is somehow surprised by that, he sends robots after them in a hissy fit for no reason. You'll notice I'm saying for no reason a lot lately. That's the idea of comedy this comic runs off of. By contrast, I find Fleetway to be the funniest continuity. And it's not forced. But just because there's some amusing dialogue that makes no sense at all sometimes, this comic's got a much better reputation than it deserves considering that barely any of its issues can even be classified as good. I think the first two were great, if heavily problematic, judging by how long I talked about them. But I'm not really impressed by the lazy writing that seemed to run out of ideas really quickly. Oh look, the heroes are fighting badniks again. That's never happened before. Look, Eggman's fighting with the mecha again. Oh look, a comedian's making fun of Eggman. That's original, right? And Eggman doesn't just go after him and throw him out of a plane to the desert. Why exactly? Wouldn't everyone be too afraid of him to publicly mock him? Sure, Sonic has good reason to not be afraid of him, but regular civilians are very powerless against Eggman if he decides to go antagonize him. The only part of this issue I seem to really like was, I guess the heroes being ride operators and them dealing with Eggman's traps afterwards.